Hey everybody, welcome to the Edit Bay. I'm Joe Baker. Today I'm going to share my first impressions of Red Giant's Magic Bullet Lux 4. So last week, Red Giant released Magic Bullet Suite 13. All of their popular plugins received updates, and they've also included some new ones as well. I sprung for the update to Lux as it's a tool I use in every single video that I edit. I won't get into why I haven't updated Denoiser, Mojo, or Colorista just yet. I'd like to share my thoughts on Lux without necessarily listing off and demoing the new features. Red Giant's own Stu Matchwitz does an excellent job of that right here on redgiant.com. I'm actually going to start off with a gripe, and the gripe has to do with installing Red Giant plugins in general. Between frequently running clean installs of Windows and Adobe releasing updates that require reinstalling all of your third-party plugins, I find myself running into issues with Red Giant's installers about 50% of the time. I usually end up manually installing these plugins. I run into issues because Red Giant markets their plugins to be compatible only with the most recent version of Adobe's Creative Cloud. In other words, they'll insist that legacy versions of, say, Lux won't work with the latest CC apps. And then, of course, their $100 upgrade will. Of course, Adobe rolled out CC 2017 the day after Red Giant released Magic Bullet Suite 13. Now, it's possible most of the time to manually install legacy versions of their plugins. I have a legacy version of Null Light Factory for Photoshop that I'm running in Photoshop 2017. This plugin was discontinued years ago. Going back to my gripe. Knowing how to manually install their plugins came in handy because even though Red Giant announced compatibility with CC 2017, using the dedicated installer for the new version of Lux didn't work. It installed in After Effects 2017, but not Premiere 2017. Anyway, after moving these plugins into the directory manually, I've had a chance to experience what's new in Lux. The most noticeable improvement, which for as often as I use Lux is worth the price of the upgrade alone, is the fact that it's now both CUDA and OpenCL supported. This means that it can take advantage of Adobe's Mercury playback engine to provide real-time playback no matter how many tools you add to your toolchain. This is huge. Lux has always been slow, painfully slow. If you've ever used the previous version of Colorista, you can now expect Lux to render at similar speeds. One thing I like is the addition of the My Footage Is feature, which was actually added to both Lux, Colorista, and Mojo. In the case of Lux, this just sits up here at the front of the tool chain. You select it and tell Lux what your footage is. You can select for some presets. I shot this with a GH4 with the Cinelike D profile, which is basically just flat video. It's not quite true log. So just by selecting flat video, that changes the way that the presets behave. It also changes the way that the tools behave down here. Lux 4 introduced the ability to save and import reference frames. I'm excited about this for two reasons. The first and obvious reason is matching shots. This is now really easy and accurate. I can take a snapshot of one clip that I've graded, import that into the Lux interface when I'm grading another shot. Which brings me to the second reason why I'm stoked about this feature. We've always been kind of trapped in Lux, confined to its custom interface. The UI of your host app doesn't update until you close the UI of Lux. Even if I have a dual monitor setup, you can't see your work on your NLE's timeline as you grade in Lux. So I'm hoping that this reference frame feature is the first of many improvements that will help us feel less confined to the Lux interface. Lux 4 now includes the Renoiser tool. Renoiser is also a standalone plugin that ships with the Magic Bullet Suite. I'll be the first to admit I'm pretty ignorant on the topic of grain and noise as a post-production step. I've never worked with film, so it's impossible for me to tell if digital tools such as this one are accurate. And unless I'm doing VFX or narrative work, I tend not to add a ton of grain to my videos. Again, I don't know. I'm ignorant. Maybe my videos could benefit from it. Who knows? But it's up here in the camera setting. You can double click on that to apply it. And it includes, whoops, shut this. It includes a ton of presets to get you started, as well as a ton of parameters here to adjust. So while we're on the topic of tools, I'm going to bring up another gripe. I add Cosmo to most of my videos of people. In Lux 4, Cosmo has been completely removed from the toolbox. You won't find it anywhere in here. The only way I could figure out how to use this was to pin every single tool on my tool chain and then come over here and apply this preset, Classic Skin Smoother, which includes the Cosmo tool down there. I'm recommending pinning your existing tools because if you select a preset after applying a bunch of tools, let me demonstrate that, it will override everything that you had down there with the exception of the tools that you have pinned. Slightly annoying, but still workable. These are the points I thought were worth mentioning to you guys. There are some other features I didn't get into, such as the ability to favorite looks and the Mojo tool being updated. I really appreciate your watching. In addition to product reviews, I cover post-production techniques on this channel, so if you'd like to be updated as I release new content, please consider subscribing. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the box below. Until next time, I'm Joe Baker with the Edit Bay. Thanks for watching.